I 100% agree. All right, as the resident Steelers fan, I have to go to war with you on Pittsburgh. Um, this is not me saying that the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender by any means. However, last year, 10 wins with, I don't know, any Joe Schmo that you can find on the streets of the south side of Pittsburgh playing quarterback. Those are all gone. I think that Russ and or Justin Fields will both be dramatic upgrades over what they had at quarterback. Nice upgrades offensive line wise, adding Patrick Queen to an already good defense. I don't know, man. I can't see them finishing worse than what they did a year ago.
Yeah, the defense lost some guys, some cornerbacks, and I'm not a big believer. Linebackers don't move the needle in our projection system.
Fair.
Like even linebackers with really good stats, when they switch teams, it doesn't move the needle. And I feel like Queen was in many ways made by McDonald and Roquan Smith. And I don't know what's going to happen in Pittsburgh. I definitely understand that the idea that their defense is going to decline, you want to fight on that. The offense that their offense is going to be 20th or so, I feel is pretty straight on. So I do think this is the year. It may be that it's 8-9, but I do think this is a year where Tomlin's streak ends.
Oh, okay. So bold claims, Aaron Schatz. So this is the year. No more winning record talk for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I mean, he may only have a losing record by one game, but I think that this is the year it ends.
Oh my. Well, as I said, I can't envision them being worse than what they were last year, just because sitting through weeks and weeks, as you did with Mac Jones, sitting through weeks and weeks of Kenny Pickett and then eventually Mitch Trubisky.
Right. But what if the defense isn't as good?
I guess that's where I'm a little bit bullish, is I think the defense is going to be very good. So maybe that's where we differ is on the defensive side of the ball, which is.
I mean, I agree the offense should be better. Although their offense did better in our numbers last year than you would think, because it played
especially in the run game
schedule, because they played a very hard schedule of opposing defenses.
Yeah, and people talk about, oh man, they're not. The NFL screwed them putting all their division games in the back half of the year. If anything, I think that helps them, because then they can just run the hell out of the ball in bad weather should there be a lot of rain or sleet.
Well, hopefully they run it more with Jaylen Warren than with Najee Harris, because
you and I are in agreement there, my friend. Jaylen Warren is the best back on the Steelers roster. That is very true. The other two teams in the NFC North, though, because we talked about Pittsburgh and Baltimore, we may as well talk about Cleveland and Cincinnati. I don't know what to say about the Browns, man. Like, their defense is going to be great, but I think they're getting their starting quarterback back, and I think that somehow makes them worse.
I think after a year and a half of Watson playing like this, we have to accept that this is what he is now.
Yeah.
After 6 games, you could say small sample size. After a year and 6 games, it's more likely that this is what he is now.
Yeah. Cincinnati, completely healthy. I think they're leaning toward being my Super Bowl pick. There's a lot of teams you can pick out of the AFC, but I think Cincinnati went healthy there. They're looking at this as like a last hurrah. Higgins isn't going to be there after this year. I really like their odds.
I think the thing about Cincinnati is they were actually pretty good with Browning at quarterback.
Yeah.
It doesn't bring a ton back to have Burrow at quarterback. I mean, yes, going forward, yes, you would much rather have Burrow at quarterback. As far as expectations for the future, Burrow is much better than Browning. As far as performance last year, they're very close to each other. So it's not like bringing Herbert back and what you had was Easton Stick, right? Like Browning was reasonable. But yeah, I mean, the Bengals in general look like a pretty good team. I mean, again, like I said, we have 8 AFC teams in the top 12. So Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Baltimore are all in that group.